Talladega Superspeedway is famous for the chaos and destruction that can be created in the blink of an eye. However, it's also unfortunately known as being one of the most controversial tracks in NASCAR history due to this painted line right here. This line would produce multiple issues since its inception, and one such race was the 2020 Yellawood 500. This is a story of how one of the greatest races at Talladega was forgotten due to a controversial finish. The story takes place on October 4th, 2020. The NASCAR Cup Series is right in the middle of their playoff season and is at the 5th track of the 10 total races in the playoffs, Talladega Superspeedway. The 2.66 mile oval will be a frightening race for those still in contention to win the championship at season's end. However, for those who weren't eligible for the championship, they saw an opportunity to finish up the season on a high note. The potential to win was high, but the danger was even higher, as previous years have shown what happens when drivers get too aggressive to win. But one such case occurred a year prior when this happened with 7 laps to go.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. back to the front. Another hood flap flies off. Oh, around goes the 18. The 42 collects the 17 as well. The 62 upside down. Brendan Gaughan upside down as he went back in front of the pack.
We're wrecked here, guys.
Knowing this, the drivers racing for the title would need to keep themselves out of trouble so they can either score a ton of points on their championship contenders or win the race and lock themselves into the next round. Denny Hamlin would be one of those drivers, as he would start on pole position with Kurt Busch starting alongside him in second. Something interesting to note here is that Kurt Busch was the only driver that was locked into the next round of the playoffs, as he had won the week prior at Las Vegas. It wouldn't take long for chaos to already begin, as the opening lap would see a caution come out for an incident between Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick. They would restart on lap 5 and would make it until lap 8 when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would be turned in the tri-oval and hit the wall backwards. It would be common in the sense that there weren't any wrecks, but they were 3 wide throughout a majority of the field until the competition caution came out at lap 26. It would be smooth sailing from there. However, with 3 laps to go in stage 1, we would quickly get a taste of how crazy this race would actually be.
He tries to go the outside, and around they go. The 10 of Eric Almirola, up in the air is the 18 of Kyle Busch. Ryan Blaney is caught in it as well. Can't tell who is wedged up against the wall with Almirola.
This accident took out a couple of drivers that were racing for the championship, which shows the risk of racing extremely hard early on, as it can end their day earlier than they would have wanted. Chris Buescher would end up winning stage 1, and as the race restarted, Chase Elliott would be the leader. Once again, the racing was very intense throughout the field, as a majority of the field were 3 wide, but little did they know that the big one was about to strike.
Oh, we got a crash! 48 goes around, the big one happening! The one's upside down! Kurt Busch climbed all over the top of the 41 of Custer. The 2 is around. Playoff contenders involved. Kurt Busch won a week ago. He's safe into the round of 8. Everyone else is still fighting for points and positions. The 62, Brendan Gaughan, his final NASCAR race was taking place, and he has severe damage to that car.
Thankfully, everyone involved was not injured, and after a red flag period, the race was restarted with 7 laps to go in stage 2. Martin Truex Jr. would go on to win that stage, and now it was time for the final stage of the race. These guys were still racing extremely hard, going 3 wide 7 rows deep with 60 laps to go. However, that would eventually end and turn into the infamous choo-choo train, where everyone gets in a single file line, until Jimmy Johnson brought out the caution for debris. The race would be restarted and stayed green until 6 laps to go in the race, where the number 53 of James Davison appeared to have a right front tire go down, which meant the race would be going into overtime. The Penske car of Joey Logano would lead the field back to the green flag. However, his lead would not last long, as Chase Elliott would make a daring move off turn 4 to take the lead coming to the white flag, with his teammate William Byron right next to him. They were 3 wide behind them, and then for the second time that day, the big one would strike.
Pass below the double yellow line. Behind. Wow. Caution comes out before they get to the finish line. Who's in it?
Since they didn't take the white flag, there would be yet another overtime restart. After another red flag delay, the race would be restarted once again, and Chase Elliott this time was under attack by Matt DiBenedetto. This when DiBenedetto was surging ahead, another caution came out. Once again, they didn't take the white flag, which meant another overtime restart. This would be the last one, but unfortunately, it would be the one containing one of the most controversial finishes in NASCAR history. Before I show you the finish, I want you to take this into account. Remember how I told you about this yellow line and how it creates issues? Well, that's because the drivers cannot go below that line to make a pass. The only time it is allowed is if a driver is physically forced below that line by another driver. So with that in mind, take a look at this finish and see if you can spot where the issue lies.
Time around in Talladega.
Eric Jones to the inside here.
Jones is 21. Now it's a matter of how long. The Wood brothers and Matt DiBenedetto out front at Talladega.
No organization right now. Look at this outside line. Oh, we got a car in the wall, the back straightaway. Cody Ware. Here comes the 17 and the 24. They're going to try to block.
Eric
in
gets
the
up into the wall. Now the 24, a big run. He slides. They make more contact. 3 wide as they come out of 4.
Hamlin to the inside. Side draft coming from the 24 car.
Denny Hamlin. William Byron through the triangle coming up to the stripe. And as they go across the stripe, a photo finish. Denny Hamlin gets the nod by 23 one-thousandths of a second.
No way.
Okay, let's go back to turn 3 on the final lap. We see that the 24 of William Byron pulls down to the inside to get a humongous run and try and take the lead. The number 21 comes down into him and technically pushes him below the line. However, behind them is Denny Hamlin, who also doesn't have enough room due to the number 17 and number 20 cars. However, look here. Instead of pulling up back onto the track when it is clear, he stays down there and tries to take the lead. This is not allowed under NASCAR's ruling, as he is trying to make an entirely different pass underneath the line, when there is more than enough room to get back onto the track. This move is what evidently got him the win, and fans were quick to notice that and call for NASCAR to disqualify him for doing that, but they never did. However, they would disqualify Matt DiBenedetto and Chris Buescher for forcing cars underneath the line, which wasn't popular with the fans. This race had some incredible crashes and racing, but that isn't remembered due to the controversial ending. This race just proves that bad officiating calls by NASCAR could take a race that would be remembered for all the incredible racing that happened and turn it into one that's remembered for the wrong reason.